I know you have, yeah.
Okay, what are you wearing?
It's my 3rd gen Christmas shirt.
That's freaking sweet.
Most people don't know, but I own a 92 Camaro RS 25th Anniversary Heritage Edition.
92 Camaros into hotness. Now here, there's a lot of people like they'll talk about like a 67, 68,
92,
69, whatever.
Yeah, that's the hot year.
And then the real guys, the real fanatics have the 92s.
Yeah.
You know,
they only made those for 1 year.
Yeah,
1 year only. 92.
You know, in 1992, I think I just turned 40 then, so it's been a while back. That's how old I am. So to keep this up, what's up, y'all? Hey, y'all. That's what I usually start this with. I've got Bug and Zach here. So the first thing I want to do is like address where did your nickname Bug come from?
Bug?
Yeah.
So when I was working at the American Gas or the hot rod shop, which Zach and I worked there together, but it was one of my first projects there. Because when I first started, I was like cleaning the bathrooms and stuff like that for a little while.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
That's what we made them do.
But I did for like a week. And then I got to do more stuff. But I think Brian, we had this like 37 Dodge pickup truck, and it had like the hood sides removed. You know, you have those old buckles that, you know, you've seen on the hot rods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those leather straps that hold down the hood. So Brian comes back from the store with a couple of belts, and he's like, hey, I got an art project for you, you know, like make some buckles out of these. You know, we just want like a affordable way to get that kind of, you know, those straps on there or whatever. And I made some comment about the belts, about like what brand they were, like Falls Creek or something like that. And so he's like, yeah, whatever, Fashion Bug, you know. So then he starts calling me Fashion Bug, and then it just got, you know, shortened to Bug.
That's exactly.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
I didn't know you did leather craft.
Yeah.
That's good to know. There's some people that follow in a different kind of community that might be commissioning you for some leather work.
He's
so you
brand
know.
specific, so you gotta be.
Yeah, Falls Creek only. That's the only leather I have contract.
Where did your nickname Zach come from?
It's from Zachary, which was my birth name.
Yes.
I don't know how biblical it is. My mother tells me it was either that or Sebastian. I was like, good choice.
yeah.
Not into Sebastian at all.
Yeah.
Seabass?
Seabass. Seabass is kind of sweet, though.
But Sebastian's not, sorry. So, yeah. Sorry for
I feel if your name was Seabass, you would be in like an old Dodge with a 12-valve Cummins in it.
Yeah.
So Seabass coming up over there, y'all. Look at him. What's he got? He ain't even got Seabass. He's got a bunch of perch in there.
Rolling coal out the driver's window. Token on a number.
Almost. You have the cigarette case for it. What I like is I don't like say this is just Zach and Bug and just go in from there. So I was fortunate enough, I went to one of the open houses and can't wait to go back at American Gasser, which they have some really cool stuff. And then both of y'all worked at American Gasser.
Yeah.
So at American Gasser, what did both of y'all do besides making belt stuff and cleaning the bathrooms, which you kind of answered that? What did you do there, Zach? You did other stuff, though, didn't you?
I did some other stuff, yep.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, Zach is a lot more long-term member than I, but I kind of started off just being a floater, kind of bounced around wherever it was needed to be filled in, really.
The floater.
Yeah, the floater. Did some mechanical stuff. I feel like a lot of the guys that work there, you kind of have to be a little bit of a chameleon. You do a little bit of everything.
For sure.
So I just kind of started out doing like some mechanical stuff and just other random stuff. I was actually, for a little while there, the guy that would go pick up the project cars, take the truck and the trailer and go pick up and drop off cars and stuff like that. But eventually I found my way into the body shop, and that's kind of where I, kind of did the remainder of my service there. Was in the
for
body
sure.
shop.
Remainder of my service.
So I painted a couple of cars, worked on a lot of, helped out with several, body shop projects and stuff like that. So yeah, that was it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool. The fact that you just got hired in and was able to go pick up the projects. Like that's not just
that is a
thrown
super
out there.
cool job to me too.
Here's a truck. Here's a trailer. Go get another liability because it's not an asset at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's I don't know.
I did enjoy that part of the job a lot. That was a lot of fun. I liked seeing, meeting people and stuff. It's kind of like, as a car guy, you love to go like find the car and like go like check out this guy's place where he has the stuff because they always have other stuff there and everything. And it's like I got to do that, but I didn't have to like pay for anything because I wasn't buying the car. But it was cool talking to people and everything. That was a lot of fun.
And you've got to instill that trust in them because you're hauling away like a member of their family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
You
people-
know.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Is it? Yeah, I've got it strapped down. Don't worry. You know.
Yup.
Yep.
But I was hired in as final assembly. Originally, it was just to put the cars together and make them show ready or whatever it was. And the service manager at the time didn't like how fast I was getting that done. And I only had an automotive background of repair. I had no, show quality vehicle experience, stainless steel brake lines and all that stuff. I was just the repair guy at the average shop of just get it running.
For sure.
So to go from that to show quality is just like, it's stuff.
It's a
coming at
huge
you.
transition.
Like,
yeah.
massive. With zero learning curve. It had to be right on the money. So that service manager didn't like me. And I guess I was like this close to being fired. But the painter at the time who got hired in was like, before you fire that guy, I'll take him. As in the paint and body shop. And that dude really took me under his wing. And that's where I learned fiberglass. I learned that from him and the business owner, John Shelton. I learned them both, bodywork and fiberglass from that guy. And I really refined all the body work, and I just started getting into paint when that painter was on his way out the door. And at about the same time that painter was leaving, the fabricator was leaving. And when the fabricator left, I was like, that's the job I want. And I just ran right in there. And again, zero experience welding, fabricating, or doing any of this stuff. But I knew that growing up watching Monster Garage or Junkyard Wars, and I was just like, that's what I want to do. Those guys look like they're having fun. So I ran over there and did it to the best of my abilities, and it just sort of stuck. Like they were just like, okay, yeah, you do have this, and from there and just researching whatever shape of metal I was trying to make, as I really love sheet metal more so than heavy fab. The framework is cool too. It's very nice to see all that come together with the suspension working out just right, or dialing in from leaf springs to four-link suspensions. That's all really cool too. But sheet metal is I just think that's so cool that you started out with a flat piece of metal and now you have a 34 Chevy fender.
Oh, for sure.
And it's just how many people in the world can do that? Or if you did it from the least amount of pieces, I have no idea how many pieces that would be, but if you did it in 3 pieces where everybody else is doing it in 6 or 8, you've done something there. And that's where I've always been attracted to that. I don't know what it is about it, but
And it's a skill set that not a lot of people have because most people, like I associate a lot of people that do body work, that they're parts changers. They're changing out a fender that comes in and putting it on. And it's a different deal with newer stuff. But with some of that, you're getting in vehicles that they don't make that part anymore. Or you're taking a fender from something and you're saving it and crafting and doing all this and have to figure out how to do that for sure. And final assembly would make me insane. Like you've got a car finished, painted, everything, and you're like attaching the hood and attaching
a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
so much pressure.
It's
and like
crazy.
You said, just no transitions. You just here you go, figure it out.
For sure. Wow. So right now, and we all understand you have a 92 Camaro. Like
Good.
I feel honored because I've seen it and it's the epitome of cool.
The hood. I love the hood on that car.
Dude, those are so... Dude, look, I want to tell you, what's crazy to me is how, those wide-body Camaros have blown up in price.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even notice.
Yeah,
Yeah, my Camaro's got to be worth at least $2,000 now.
$2 to $3
You're rocking
grand.
on yours, bro.
Yeah.
I do love those. You know, I used to make fun of Fox body Mustangs, and now I think they're one of the sexiest
Dude,
Mustangs.
it's so cool.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, I love
these are
those things.
so freaking cool.
I do love them.
Okay.
Carl's
The
got one
crap
over
you-
there for you. Have you seen it?
Really?
It's a Capri. It's a Mercury, the Mercury version
Oh,
of
yeah,
a
the
Capri.
Mercury
And it's
Capri.
got a, I think he said it's a four or five
Four-cylinder?
speed
Oh, was it
V8
four-cylinder
car.
turbo?
He's waiting over there for you. Yeah.
Wanted a turbo Capri.
Will
You get turbo it.
a 4-cylinder LS fit in one of those?
Will it? You better be all right.
Current daily drivers. Who wants to go first?
Bud.
No,
Who's going
No,
first,
Zach,
Bud?
you feel that. I took the last one.
My current daily is a 63 Ford Falcon, which I have nicknamed Fiona.
Adapt the fish. Still running strong with the fishing.
Oh my gosh, like a fish out of water. Grab it, look at you.
She loves that toy. Yeah. He gave off on the other shoe.
And honestly, a buddy of mine who helped me pick it up, I don't even remember where we got the darn thing from. I said it was on the west side of the state. He said it was out towards the thumb. I'm gonna go with him because he knows. So we got it somewhere out there. It was a Florida car originally, which in the windshield you can see the Florida State Inspection sticker,
For sure.
and it was just rust free, and it was a little 6-cylinder, a 144 with a 2-speed automatic, and I couldn't believe how well it started up, and I drove the thing home, and yeah, I just loved it ever since then, and done some swapping around to make it more of a daily to handle the highway speeds and all that. So yeah,
I definitely want to do a walk around because it is a super cool car.
yeah.
It is rad.
Drives
yes.
it in it's December right now, by the
Yeah.
way.
Oh, yeah.
It's driving in the snow, year-round
Oh, yeah.
car,
Year round up here
Yeah.
in Rust Belt, man.
year-round.
Yep.
The
Gotta
only
have
guy driving a Falcon in the wintertime.
it. Yep. Do love it. I do love it.
That is freaking awesome. She is definitely a cool ride.
Mine is not as cool as the Falcon, but I do like it. It's a 2003 Tahoe, relatively new to me, but it's nothing crazy or special or anything like that. But it's 2-wheel drive, which a lot of guys like the 4-wheel drive stuff. It took me a long time to find a 2-wheel drive with a 5.3 V8 LS.
LS.
It's got an LS motor.
Got that
Tell 'em where
LS
it's made.
goodness.
Tell 'em where it's made.
Texas, made in Texas.
Tejas.
But
I've got Texas folks that watch the channel.
okay.
There's
yeah.
probably 2 of them. They'll be excited.
Arlington,
Yes.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's a clean. It came from Nevada. It's rust free, so that was the major draw for me. Other than I really wanted it, the LS based platform with the 2-wheel drive, because I have these crackpot ideas in my head of all these things I'm going to do that probably won't ever happen. But in case I do want to do them, I have the vehicle for it.
Right.
I have the right platform for it. But it's got almost 300,000 miles on it, but the body was so clean, I was
broken.
just like, I had to it was the right one for me.
It's crazy to me how clean and unworn the interior is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It doesn't look
And
like a
there's-
300,000 mile interior
No.
either. Yeah.
And even dings on the body, and especially I don't know where it went after Texas, but there's usually at least hell dings, shopping carts, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's super, super clean.
It's got dings. It's just white.
Yeah.
It hides it pretty good.
No, it's a straight car. I love that car, man. It's
Do you? Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's got some good features on it. It's probably the fanciest car I've ever owned. So
All right. I know y'all just went on these, and I know you're in love with yours, but what about, is there a wish list for a daily driver that you're like, hey, this would be the end all for a daily driver?
Gosh, I don't really know. A daily driver that's not Fiona.
you've been looking for a wagon.
Oh, I do want a wagon, but it's like if I put the time and effort into wagons, I want them. We'll park that for the winter. I don't want to put that time and effort into it because that'll be very, very nice.
For sure.
Fiona's nice to where somebody else will be like, yes, I will ride in that.
Yeah.
I don't have to bribe them with something. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the wagon will be not show quality, but much nicer
Oh, for
than
sure.
Fiona would be. And if I get it to that point, because we both know the effort, well, we all know the time and effort it takes to get to that, I don't want to do that and then drive it in the winter and watch it rust away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that wagon would be a summer vehicle only in this state. And
Well, just say, I mean, it's basically like March to November daily driver.
yeah,
Because, I mean, that's, usually you avoid
would
the
be.
snow and the salt at that point.
yep.
I consider that a daily driver still. Doesn't have to drive it necessarily through the winter time. I don't know.
I agree.
You have your winter daily driver and your summer daily
You
driver.
do. You're right. That's the thing up here. You're right.
Yeah. Mine would be I've been looking for, well, loosely looking for a 60 to 66 Suburban is kind of where I really want to land on. Just, for my business and for having a family to haul them around. I like short bed trucks. I like long bed trucks too, but, I like trucks. That's the thing. I like regular cab trucks
My
the most.
apologies.
Thanks. I like regular cab trucks the most, but now we have a daughter and she's 9 months old, and I need something I can put the family in. So Suburban, the 60 to 66 Suburban, it's on the shorter wheelbase platform, which I really like, and it's a 2-door. So it's got that like kind of sporty, like sport truck feel to it still, but it's got back seats, and I can haul stuff around with it. For the sign painting business that I have, I'd like to letter it up and use it as like a mobile billboard type thing.
For sure.
And just use that to promote stuff. I could go to car shows with it, but it'd be like a daily driver, and that's where the Tahoe comes in. Let's just
That's
say
right.
a tree falls on it. Who cares? I can just
Exactly.
take the body off and put the Suburban on there.
I like this
Exactly.
plan.
Yeah.
I like this plan a lot.
I like
Yep.
that a lot. Those years, those Suburbans look super freaking cool.
Oh, they're
I like them a lot.
sweetest,
Yeah.
dude.
I like
That
them a lot.
that one I think we've talked about over, is it Woodside or whatever?
On Woodside.
The red and black one. I saw it.
Oh yeah.
It's like a
Square
80s,
body
yeah,
Suburban,
square body.
yeah.
It was rolling down the road the other day, and I waved at them, but they didn't wave back. I was a little
Is
bit
this, real
butthurt.
quick, is that Bourbon 2-door or 4-door?
That one's a 4-door.
That one's 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 60 to 60 or the pre 66 ones are all 2 doors.
Nice.
After 66, they had like a 3-door, and then it went to 4-door.
All right, favorite generation of cars.
Dang, man, I gotta go with 50s, I think.
Yeah.
It's a real tough one because, like, some of the 40s can be nice, but I feel like you have to do something to the 40s.
Yeah,
There's not too many factory, like, a 40, and that's the one for me.
for sure.
But 50s, like, people will be like, what do you like the most? 51 Merc, hands down.
Yeah.
It's like not a question in my mind. But there's not much from about 57 to 50 even. I don't think you could find a vehicle in there and be like, I don't really like that one much.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It'd
they
be
all
hard to
look good.
do.
And then it did it again, probably throughout somewhere in the 30s, I'm not sure where, to somewhere in the 20s, again, not sure where. And it almost, like, history repeats itself. It's almost like somewhere in that time period, they were almost all copying each other, but there are differences enough for the car guy to know
Oh, for sure.
that's a Chevy or that's a Ford or whatever it is. And, 50s, I think, is hard, yes, and then 30s are like, some of them, yeah, it's really tough. But those two windows that I explained.
I'm with you too. There's a lot of pre-war stuff that I'm absolutely in love with, but definitely the 50s too are my favorite.
I'd say 50s and 60s because I like the 50s. The 50s have like obviously that iconic look, but as the 50s were starting to get to late 50s and early 60s, I really like that style too, where it started getting like super streamlined and like jet age and like all that
Rocket
kind of
ships,
stuff.
yeah.
So
like
right.
the long and the really long, low looking cars, like
For sure.
like a 60 Catalina or something like that.
Dude,
Those things
yeah.
look so cool.
Galaxy
The
500.
galaxies, all that stuff. I mean, the same
yeah.
thing we were talking about. Like, I don't know if you could look at any of those things and be like, that's kind of like whatever, blah.
Kind of like
you know.
space age type.
Yeah, all that space age
Yeah.
stuff, and they kind of the roof lines started getting lower and they started getting longer.
The
They were.
detail on the tail lights on those, where
Yeah.
it's still in that space
First
all
thing
age.
that
that
comes
Yeah.
to
stuff.
mind when you say that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The dash instrument clusters and everything, and the use of like fabrics and stuff. Like, I really like the interior stuff
Oh, yeah.
that they had in those. All those different like 2, 3, 4 tone like fabrics and like the different like patterns that they had and stuff. Like, it's just, I don't know. that
And the
stuff's so cool.
dashes.
Yeah.
The gauges, the dashboard, even
Yep.
the radios, everything that was made was super freaking cool.
Yep.
So none of us are from Bay City.
Correct.
Correct. But we're all
You
here
looked
in
at
Bay
me.
City, Michigan. But can we all agree Madonna, who is from here, sucks?
Yeah.
I don't know her, but yeah, probably so.
Alrighty. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes. Oh, here it is. I have a hard time reading my writing. Some folks know
Me too,
that.
bro.
Can you have too much metal flake?
Oh man. On the right vehicle, no.
And chunky metal flake or fine metal flake?
I like fine.
I'd say
personally.
fine metal.
I
I
like
like
fine.
fine metal flake. Yeah.
My 51 Chevy Alice has chunky metal flake.
We haven't seen it though. We don't know.
No, the fine is super sweet. Metal flake is, especially on 50s cars, on the roofs
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff, the
yeah.
lace.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of the. What had happened is I actually had ordered chunky and didn't know it.
Well, when you say
So-
chunky, I mean,
Oh, it's big.
You can
Yeah.
hear the
It's-
gun, like
Yeah.
I guess it all depends on how it's applied, though. Because when I think chunky metal flake, I just think like this freaking
We-
hog stuff that somebody tried to spray out, and it's like blotchy and everything like
It
that.
laid down sweet, but the guy who painted has like a ton of experience in painting, and he had a gun specific for metal flake, but he put a couple of like 3/8 nuts in there and was shaking it in it
right.
and shooting it.
Yeah.
And like I won't say his name or whatever, but he had probably Will Jordan, my good buddy, and I were there watching him. And in the process of him doing this, he probably smoked like 3 or 4 joints and drank like a 12-pack of Bud Light. And the more he drank and smoked,
Whoa.
the better everything he did got. It was unreal. All the prep work for shooting the flake and by the time he was there, it was the weirdest thing ever. And I'd had maybe like 6 or 7 PBRs, and I'm just like, I don't even know what we're doing today. So yeah, it was,
I guess
it was
if it's
freaking
laid
weird.
out even, that's the biggest thing with the big
Yeah.
chunky flake. You know, if it's laid out even, and if it, I mean, you have enough clear on there to like sand it, and
Yeah.
it's like a glass, you know, or like super smooth. It's not, doesn't look like cottage cheese or whatever.
Hey.
I'll let y'all critique it on video when I get her up here.
But it's the 2 nuts in the cup shaking around it. Dude, I've always heard that about flake. 'Cause you cannot.
He had a
shake it enough.
routine. He would spray and do it and spray it like it was
Yeah.
a rhythm, like a freaking tambourine in a freaking band. It wasn't like he's shaking it and like crawl on. Like I'll shake it and get tired and then go like, why is it running? Well, you didn't shake it enough, dummy.
Yeah.
You know. But it was like how he did it was a rhythm on it. So
It's you can't shake it enough because you don't want. I guess the chunky you don't want them to settle.
yeah.
But because then you got it all out and then we just spraying clear on the
Yeah.
rest. But that's all I've ever heard about it is you can't shake it enough. Just
And
go to
it's-
town.
Silver on silver.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
With clear. What is the proper length for cuffed jeans?
Like how big is the cuff?
Yes. Yeah. Don't look at mine.
You go first.
Man, I don't know. I just think it just depends on how long your pants are.
I got a bad answer on this one.
I don't know. I just think
Go first.
I think it can vary. I don't know. I've never really thought about that question before. I think when you have like, you know, your cuffs are rolled up this like 6 inches, that's a little much.
Agreed.
You know, I don't know. I
You
think
can
that's
hide a flask in it.
It depends if you're
Yeah.
trying to hide something. I
think
got my
that's a little
Saturday
much,
night
but
special Derringer
I
in here.
feel like I don't know. Somewhere between 1.5 and 2.5 inches, maybe.
That's where I'm at. And I don't know why, like, don't measure these right now, but when I wear my jeans, I cuff all
He's
the
wearing
time. My
Crocs
black
right now.
Levi's.
He's
Exactly.
wearing cuff jeans
Let's
with Crocs.
just real quick.
It's cold. I'm wearing flannel lined jeans that are very, very weird cut, but they're warm.
No, I think it's the same as this is a weird comparison, but drifting has been taken out of control. Drifting was a purpose of Here's the fast way around this curve, so we'll drift it around this curve. Cuffs were a necessity because the pants were too long.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
If your pants ain't too long, quit trying to. I'll buy them 4 inches longer so I can cuff them and just
So-
fits.
little
And I
little
get
full
it.
circle. The guy that actually painted the flake, he has a '79 Camaro,
All
a
right.
stroker
yeah.
motor, 6-speed, and
The
it
best
is disgustingly fast
Yeah.
or whatever. So he took me one day. He's like, "Man, we're gonna go for a ride." So he's sitting there, and the whole time he's smoking a cigarette, shifting and looking at me and not looking at the road. And he doesn't call it drifting. We're going, and I'm like wrapping my arm around the seat belt. I'm like pushing into the floor pan. I'm like, what in the hell? We're hauling. He's like going, man, they call this stuff, them old boys call this old, drifting. It's power sliding. That's all it is. It's power sliding.
It is.
And he goes, I was like all excited to see some drifting. And I was like, is all them boys is doing is power sliding? But he goes, they're doing it in them old rink-a-dink cars. That's what he told me.
Rink-a-dinks, yeah.
So yeah, I'll show y'all a video of him doing some power sliding.
Power slide.
So, Phil, 1.5 2.5
I
inches,
don't know,
unless you're
something
hiding
like
a
that.
flask.
Plus you're hiding the flask, yeah, sure.
All right.
1.5, 2.5. I don't know what goes in there. Other than grass clippings. I mean, it's just. Why do
So-
you do that?
We all love vintage stuff. So like gas pumps, signage,
Peanut vending machine.
Peanuts machine, yeah.
peanut machines like this one, which is freaking cool. Vintage tools and stuff or anything. Is there something that either one of you like? I really want to get this, like as like the top of the list for something vintage to get and to kind of keep.
Yeah.
Besides a vehicle, huh?
Beside not a vehicle.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
not a vehicle.
like a big giant cast iron English wheel.
Yeah.
I haven't the slightest clue. I don't do nearly enough sheet metal work anymore, and I can't remember the company who makes them, but it's like $9,000. And if I could get my hands on one, it's just so killer. I mean,
For sure.
that was I don't want to say it's a lost art because really, really coming back, and other people are obviously still making English wheels, but that big giant cast iron makes a statement of this is going to be here for life.
Oh yeah.
This is or generations. This isn't
Yeah.
just for you or temporary. This worked for this one car, this one time. But yeah.
And not knocking like a new milling machine, which I know are like top notch, but you look at those versus an old Bridgeport and the style of them
Yeah.
and how they look is
Oh,
just, yeah.
That reminds me, remember that drill press I sent you? That giant. I'm glad I didn't send it to you because it would have been in your truck somehow or on the back of your flatbed. It's this drill press. It had this massive cast iron base, like this big, like huge, massive thing. That
It's
kind of
super
reminds
freaking
me
cool.
of what you're talking about with that.
Yeah. It's
Which
just-
that stuff is just like you just look at it. It's like a piece of art just sitting there.
It is.
And it's just like so impressive and stuff. Yeah.
And when it functions, it just makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Like it's more than just sitting in my yard rusting.
Yep.
For sure.
It's doing something. So
Yep.
the vintage tools, you got me on that one. It's, absolutely.
How about you, sir?
Man, I don't know. That's a tough question. I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is actually those windows that I just picked up. I've been looking for a set of windows for a while, and I actually was looking at new windows. But anyway, like the big old warehouse windows, because I have my shop, my barn that I wanted to kind of want to revamp it and make it actually give it some life and give it some character because it's just a pole barn. So I've been wanting to put like warehouse windows in the one end of the wall. So like I just love the big warehouse windows. I love that the look from the outside. It's just nothing beats it really. And then
Oh, for sure.
the look from the inside, I don't know. It's like when you're working inside a shop and like there's these cool. If you go in any old school like really cool shop, you see like these sweet warehouse windows and stuff.
Yeah, you do.
It just looks so cool.
It does.
It's just and it makes you feel like I don't know. I just feel like the way it makes you feel when you're working on stuff is kind of like unique.
It does.
The
So
environment that you're working on stuff, and that goes with the old tools and stuff like that. You're surrounded by all that kind of stuff. It's almost like an inspiration itself. I feel like that flows through to what you're working on, and
Yep.
it kind of gives you inspiration for what you're doing.
Yeah, it does.
It does. And it's cool. The windows he picked up are like metal frame. They're glazed glass in them.
They're from
They
like
have,
the
the crank
1900s,
outs.
yeah, with the crank out
Yeah,
parts and
swishy.
stuff.
They're super freaking cool. And like you said, how your plans are for for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Look at this cool thing that I thought was a piece of trim and a drywall screw, and it's a bottle opener with a magnet
Yeah, you'll be the first.
I can-
I want to see how it goes.
like this.
The nail pulls out.
Yeah, I know. With this twist off.
Look at that. Thank you. Yeah, I can't read that.
Yeah,
either.
me neither. They need to up
Looks
their
like
guy game.
fish bones. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
bar and grill. Fishbone.
Pole Town, Bowling Green, Ohio. Shout out to Pole Town.
Bowling Green. You know what's made in Bowling Green? 1992 Camaros and Corvettes.
Let's go.
I would like to go to that museum. I've been to Bowling Green numerous times, and it's all been at night. Driving through, hauling something, going, "Oh, it'd be cool to go."
Have you
there."
ever been through Findlay, Ohio? Flag
no.
City? Isn't that Flag City?
Oh, yes, I have.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a proud town.
Well, yes, it is. America.
Shout out to Findlay,
Dude,
Ohio.
I
We
wanna
love
stop
them.
this real quick. I really do. Honestly, no joke. But
That'd be
on the
sweet.
way to Indianapolis.
Although this goes into the next question,
Oh, okay.
and I've never
All right.
done this before. I just merely wrote story time. Thank you.
Okay. I want to stop at the Auburn Museum on the way to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
That one is, again, going back to 30s, 20s. I think Auburn goes back into the teens. I'm not sure. I don't know the Auburn history,
Yeah.
but apparently I need to stop by a museum. and find it
Super
out.
cool engines.
But yeah, and just the design and their convertible tops, it was multi-piece back then. Like today, we want to push a button, and then before then, you would just lift it up and fold it. Well, the Auburns, I think you had to like take pieces out, like I guess it would be the B pillar and C pillar if it was a four-door. I don't know how it'll work, but Auburns were just interesting. I mean, to say the least. But yeah, drove past it at least twice with that school, and then
For sure.
going
Yeah.
to PRI. That was it sucks to drive past and just be like, man, we need to stop there.
Yeah.
So Zach just went to PRI,
Yeah. Yep.
and brought us
Yeah.
some sticky boys and a shop rag, which is pretty freaking cool. So
Shout out to PRI.
shout out
Yeah.
PRI. So, do either one of y'all? That was a cool story. But do you have like a cool car story to tell?
Cool car. I don't have cool. I got.
Well, speaking of my 92 Camaro,
Yes. This is what
but
I'm.
this
waiting
is
for.
actually, so the 92 Camaro, it is my vehicle. Yes, I do own it. And it's actually, I don't know. Growing up, I always thought like the third gen Camaros were cool, you know, when I was growing up in the 90s and stuff like that. And but anyway, I ended up getting one, and I've always bought and sold cars a lot, you know, and tinker with them, on to the next one, whatever. But for some reason, the Camaro just ended up sticking around, and I don't know, I just liked the car, and it just, you know, kind of kept going. And then when I met my wife initially, my now wife, you know, when we were dating, that was the car I was driving when we first started dating. So we went on our first date in the car, and then you know, we got married, and we got married and drove off in that car right after the ceremony.
yeah.
And then like the morning after, we loaded up the car, or the car was already loaded. We drove down to Myrtle Beach on our honeymoon in that car.
Oh, that's sweet.
And then, you know, we had our, you know, week down there, and then my daughter was born 9 months ago, and we brought her home from the hospital in that car because
That's awesome.
You know, I want that. You know, I want it to be something like that's it'll be her car.
the
eventually.
legacy stuff like that with the cars.
Yeah,
Are what's
and it's not like I always it's not my dream car. It's not like my epitome of what I think like an awesome car is, but it's just that car that has sentimental value to it, and like I
For
won't,
sure.
won't ever get rid of it. And I hope that my daughter now will enjoy it when we pass it on to her and stuff like
yeah.
that. But it just has cool memories now. So
Dude, I don't know where to start with my car stories. Well, you guys know how I got Fiona. The cab over I've got is my grandfather's. That was his, I call it medium duty or 2.5 ton truck, whatever, however you want to classify this. He would haul produce around Bay City and sell them to, I guess, the grocery stores and all. I thought it was just smaller stores, but it was everybody, restaurants included.
wow.
Just think about that must be you, God.
Yeah. So crazy.
And that truck just, I've never seen it move ever in my entire life. And I guess I found it out there at my great uncle's house, and we towed it home, pulled the cab off of that frame, because 1960s 2.5 ton frame parts, I don't even know, where do you start to look for that stuff? So I threw it on a 1 ton RV frame, and that was it. Now I got it.
That's
But,
awesome. And it's super freaking cool.
yeah, glad you like it, man.
It's got a homemade flatbed on it. It's got Humvee tires on it now.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to pan in some shots of the vehicles
Yes,
as
I'll
we're talking
add.
through these.
And there is a video. I'll put a link, and I'll put a link to Justin, aka Bugs, all of his social media for his sign painting and the artwork. And I mean, you do a little bit of everything.
A little bit, yeah.
You're a woodworking guru. though you
Guru.
act like
I
you're
don't know.
not.
I wouldn't say
God, he's good
guru.
at it.
Don't
Dude,
say
yeah.
guru.
Yes.
I'm not a
Yeah,
guru.
the woodworking, pinstriping, lettering, and signage. It's just you do some cool
Thank you.
stuff.
I appreciate it. I'm learning every bit of the way. I enjoyed I like learning about the stuff, and I feel like Zach's the same way with fabrication. It's like if you enjoy what you do, you're never gonna feel like you're there. You're never gonna feel like you've made it. You're always gonna want to learn what the next step or what the next technique is or anything like that. And
sure.
that's just what drives you to be better, and you want to do good work. That's what I want to do is good work.
Really like glass work you do. The
The
it's almost like
lettering.
reversing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
that
cool.
makes my head hurt even trying to think about how to do some of that.
But doesn't
and
it come out sweet?
Yeah.
Man, it comes out.
And like the gold leaf and stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I had to paint this backwards and upside down, and I was wearing a scuba
Yeah.
mask," and I'm like, "What?"
Yup.
It was underwater because that's how the paint has to stick.
It
It's
comes out
freaking
so
wild.
nice though,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It's so worth it.
But it's like anything that you do, though. I feel like if you're a true craftsman, you're always gonna want to be better. You're never gonna feel like you arrived or anything like that.
For
And I know
sure.
I've seen you just from the stuff Zach that's done it. You're always looking to get into the next thing and do it better and everything like that.
Yeah.
That's just, I think that's cool. I think that's the hallmark of an actual craftsman.
It is. It's like what is that? The good welders want the next weld to be better than the
Yeah.
last.
Yep.
Yep.
It never ends with every craftsman, So,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Stay humble.
Stay humble, fools. I appreciate it. Thank y'all very much, and we really appreciate this bar that we're sitting at was your grandfather or grandparents.
Yes.
And I appreciate you letting us come down here and use this and have some brews and some fancy drinks. And this is really cool. And I wish that I tried to take a picture of it last time at the camp, but if you could see this Formica, holy hell, it's freaking cool.
Yeah.
So-
Dawson's Dive by appointment only.
exactly. So we've got hopefully
Just I need another
soon.
sign made.
That's,
There you go.
hopefully soon we'll have some koi fishing here, but thank y'all very much. Bye, y'all. Thanks.
Later.